All right, today we are opening the vault on Google Cloud Architecture Fundamentals. This is a core part of our TradingMaster AI Sentinel series. And look, this isn't just about using the cloud. This is about architecting for absolute resilience and peak performance.
You know, at the end of the day, your code is only as fast as the infrastructure it runs on. And in the world of high-frequency trading and large-scale AI, we're talking about a world where every single microsecond counts. A tiny 50-millisecond spike in latency, that's not a glitch. That's a missed trade. That's a real-world loss. So that's the problem we're solving today. We're going way beyond just making something that works, and into the realm of building something that scales globally without downtime.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to walk through three absolutely critical stages. First, we'll talk about the guiding principles, the well-architected framework. Then we'll get into the strategic choices you have to make with deployment archetypes. And finally, we'll cover how you build your foundation with landing zones and blueprints. Okay, let's dive in with our guiding principles.
First up, the well-architected framework. The best way to think about this? It's your North Star. It's a set of principles that should guide every single decision you make when you're building on Google Cloud.
Because at its core, good architecture is always a balancing act. You can't just maximize everything. Think about it. You can't push for the absolute lowest latency without it blowing up your budget. And you can't over-engineer for insane reliability on a system that, frankly, doesn't need it. The real goal here is to find that sweet spot, the optimal trade-off for your specific trading algorithm or AI model.
So the framework is built on these 5 pillars: security, reliability, cost optimization, performance, and operational excellence. Now, what's really important to see here is how they all interact, how they pull on each other. For a trading system, you're probably thinking reliability and performance are everything, right? And you're not wrong, but that choice directly impacts your costs. If you ignore cost optimization, trust me, your cloud bill can eat your profits before the market even opens.
And for many of you watching, some of these pillars are just, well, they're non-negotiable. As the framework itself points out, for financial institutions, reliability isn't just a good idea, it's a fundamental business and regulatory requirement. This means designing for failure isn't an option, it's literally the starting point of your entire design.
But at the same time, even when you need that rock-solid reliability, cost is always going to be a crucial constraint. I mean, the best AI model in the world is completely useless if it costs more to run than the value it generates. It's that simple. And that's why you have to be proactive about managing costs, so you can actually maintain financial discipline while you're trying to innovate. So the main takeaway here, you have to be designing with all of these pillars in mind right from day one.
Okay, let's move on and see how this all connects. With those principles fresh in our minds, we now have to face a really foundational decision. Where, physically, is your infrastructure going to live? This brings us to the world of deployment archetypes.
Now, the simplest trade-off you'll make is between zonal and regional deployments. A zonal architecture, well, it puts all your stuff in a single Google Cloud zone. It's simple, it's cheap, but it's also a massive single point of failure. If that zone has an outage, you're down. Game over. A regional architecture, on the other hand, spreads your application across multiple zones within one region. It's definitely more complex and it costs more, but it's designed to survive a zone outage. For any serious production workload, this is the standard, no question.
And this table just brilliantly illustrates the whole game. As we move from zonal to regional and then up to multi-regional, just look at the infrastructure availability. We go from 3 nines to 4 nines and then all the way to 5 nines. Now check out the robustness rows. A regional setup can survive a zone outage with a near-zero recovery time objective, or RTO. That's basically how fast you have to be back online after a disaster. But to survive a full region outage with that same near-zero RTO, you have no choice but to go multi-regional. And of course, that incredible resilience comes at a price, both in dollars and in operational complexity.
This number, 99.999% availability, or 5 nines as we call it. This is the gold standard, the target for a truly multi-regional architecture. You know what that actually translates to? Just over 5 minutes of potential downtime per year. For a global trading platform or a mission-critical AI service, this is the level of resilience you engineer for. It is a very deliberate, very strategic choice to trade higher cost and complexity for maximum possible uptime.
And beyond that, we've got the ultimate hedges, hybrid and multi-cloud. Hybrid connects your on-prem data centers right into Google Cloud, perfect for disaster recovery or for a gradual migration. Multi-cloud means you're using GCP alongside other cloud providers. This lets you cherry-pick the best services from each, or even maintain a DR site on a completely separate platform.
These are absolutely the most complex, but they offer the highest degree of strategic flexibility.
So, you've got your principles, you've chosen a deployment strategy, but hold on. Before you deploy a single workload, you have to prepare the environment itself. This is where we need to talk about landing zones and blueprints. Think of it as the city planning for your digital empire.
So, what is a landing zone, really? It's the foundation you build before you build anything else. It's a pre-configured, secure, and scalable environment. And just to be clear, it's not a physical thing. It's the whole setup of your identity, your networking, and your security policies that ensures every single future workload gets deployed correctly and safely, right from the very start. Building this foundation follows a really crucial, repeatable flow, and it's designed to make sure security is baked in, not bolted on later. First, you handle identity and access. Who can do what? This is where you set up permissions. Second, you tackle network design. You establish your virtual clouds, your firewall rules, your connectivity. And third, you implement these overarching security controls to create secure perimeters and protect your data. You get this right once, and you can scale securely forever. And this is exactly why blueprints, like Google's own Enterprise Foundations Blueprint, are so powerful. They give you a tested, ready-to-go starting point. As this quote says, a well-designed foundation gives you consistency across your entire cloud environment. It lets you deploy 1,000 AI models without breaking a sweat because all the guardrails are already in place.
So, let's take a step back. You've established your principles, you've chosen your deployment strategy, and you've built your secure foundation. Your foundation is set. The question is, what's next? Well, let's recap our journey really quick. The well-architected framework gives you the why, your guiding principles for making those smart trade-offs. The deployment archetypes define the where, the big strategic choices for resilience and global reach. And finally, landing zones provide the how, that secure, repeatable foundation for everything else you build. This whole process, it's really the difference between a simple project and a truly scalable, enterprise-grade platform.
And we're not stopping here. In our next explainer, we are going deep, deep, into deployment archetypes. We're going to show you exactly how to configure your zones for zero latency execution. So make sure you subscribe to the Sentinel series and let's keep building.